Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping in today. I'm back with a new layout for Pinkfresh Studio, and this page is for the 2020 December challenge, which is right there. Some really pretty Christmassy colors, and the theme is all things holiday. And I'm going to use white paper as a background, and here are my photos that I'm going to scrap today. Me trying to wrangle my daughters in front of the Christmas trees at the Christmas tree lot. And as you can tell, they were so into it. Yeah, no, they were trying to run away. But that's the photos that I got, so that's the memory of that day, and we're going to scrap it. So that's how it goes in real life sometimes, right? Yes. So this is thick, smooth, white cardstock, and I want to make my own watercolor mixed media background for today. So I'm going to coat the whole thing with clear gesso, and this is just going to prep the cardstock for all the water and liquids and things that I'm going to add to it, and it's going to allow the colors to run and blend and look really pretty together. So what I was thinking was a light sky blue background. Try to basically create a sky as my background. And so I'm going to use a couple of different colors here, and I'm going to use a lot of water. And so thank goodness for gesso, because the gesso is going to allow all this color to stay on top of the paper for a bit before drying and soaking right through it, and it's going to allow all the colors to blend together. And so I'm just trying to go mostly well, once I get going further here, heavier on the color on the top half of the layout, and then it's going to sort of fade to a lighter color toward the bottom. So the colors that I'm using here are sky blue. That's the color that I'm going to start with, and it's more of like a pretty aqua turquoise color. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of the darker blue that's called sapphire, and I'm going to just start creating a sky here. Sometimes I'll spray water first and then add the watercolor. Sometimes I'll just add the watercolor and then spritz it with water. I'm using a brush. I'm tilting the paper, just basically adding color. I want this to just be a pretty color wash to resemble a sky. And there's going to be some lights and some darks. And this is a great way to do some mixed media without worrying if it's perfect or not, because you're basically just trying to cover the entire sheet of paper. And you know, you could do this 10 times with 10 different pieces of paper, and it's never going to look the same way twice. And I think that's the beauty of creating backgrounds. You know, it's always going to be unique. And creating a sky is easy. So I kept going. I turned off the camera because it was, you know, it took a while. But some of this is dry, and you can just see what I'm talking about there. You know, you got some lights and some darks, and I'm going to keep working on it. It's not done. But I love all these different shades of blues. So this is almost dry at this point, and what I thought I would do is try to create some clouds, but it didn't work as great as I thought it was going to, mainly because there's still a lot of white on the background, and that's okay. I'm using a little mini foam ink blending tool there with some white acrylic paint, and I'm just kind of dabbing it and smudging it in a little circle fashion. And you really can't even tell that I'm doing this. Like I said, it's still so light in so many places that this really didn't make a difference. But in my mind, it was working. But it's okay. It's you know, every layout, for me anyway, is an experiment. You just, sometimes you don't know how things are going to turn out. So I just wound up using a napkin there and kind of smudging the paint a little bit more. And you know, you can tell a little bit of light areas here, but it's not really a significant difference. So but yeah, I really like how this looks like an abstract sky, and even toward the bottom, you know, the paint ran down that direction, but it's still very light, and so you get the blue sections, but you also get a lot of light and bright white sections. So I just decided, since the clouds weren't turning out as great as I'd hoped, I'm just going to add some splatters here. And I guess this could look snowy, you know, even though we're wearing shorts in these photos, it doesn't matter. You know, I like to make snowy layouts sometimes, or at least the effect of snow. And I think this background turned out cool. So essentially, I just made my own pattern paper background here. And I like that it looks like a sky because we were outside. And blue is a great neutral color. It's going to go with all of the other colors that I'm going to use today. So all I did there was add a little bit of tissue paper behind my photos. It's going to create sort of a little subtle border. and act as a little bit of a separator between the photo and the layers and the background. This is a piece of green and white stripe pattern paper that I used on my previous layout, and I'm going to use it here as a little bit of a subtle green layer kind of peeking around the edges of the photos there. And again, layering is great for helping your photos to stand out and to add a little bit of separation between the photo and the background. So what I was thinking for the design of this was to have the photos kind of horizontally just beside each other, kind of like that, and then work around that. I'm going to start to play around with some embellishments. I've got some puffy stickers, some die cuts, some cardstock stickers, some chipboard pieces, and just sort of start to play around. I'm not quite sure what I want where, but that's part of this process, is just playing around and seeing what you like and seeing what colors look good where. This is a 3x4 card, and I thought I might use that to create a little bit of this pinkish red color. So in this collection you get the, the Christmas fire engine red, and then you get more of like a pinkish red. So I'm going to try to use a little bit of both of those. So for my title, I wanted to use some big stamps, and so these are the Adore Alpha stamps. And I'm going to use one of the mini ink cubes from Pinkfresh Studio. This one is called Storm, and it is the perfect dark navy blue color to match the color that is in the challenge. And I wanted to pretty much make an accurate title to reflect my photos. So when I look at these photos, I think, yep, that's real life. So I wanted the terms real life to be in my title. So that's what I'm going to stamp out here. And I'm going to wind up die cutting these out. And I realized as I did this, I should have done this the opposite way. I should have die cut these letters first and then stamped, because these turn out kind of crooked, but it winds up being a happy accident. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. But this is the matching die set, the Adore Alphas. So you can see what I'm talking about here. I cut them kind of crooked so they have this white shadow, but I actually liked how that looked. I think this is my first time die cutting stamps with the matching dies. Are you supposed to die cut it first and then stamp it? Because when I did it this way, I never got it 100% accurate, and so all the letters have a little shadow. But I actually like how that looks. It helps them stand out a little bit more, so I just went with it. So real life is going to be part of my title, and I want that to be on top of the photos there. So I love this font, and I love how big these are. They make perfect titles. And the cool thing about this, actually there's a few of them, but I know in this one also you not only get the actual letter that you see here that I'm using, but you get a really thin outline of each letter. So you actually get two cuts in one. And I've used the outlines on a couple layouts. Actually, on my previous layout that I did earlier in November with this, I used an outline for one of these die cuts, and they look really, really cool. So I was just showing you there that I got the title glued down, and I did a little straight stitch through it on my sewing machine with white thread. It's very, very subtle. You can't even really see it from here, but I just wanted to make sure the title was down. And so now that the title is down, everything else is going to have to work around that. And I wanted to add something above it. So this layout is going to be kind of stacks. It's going to be a title, a bigger title, and then the photos, and then some embellishments. And I wanted to use this memories. My only issue was that the red of the memories and then the red in the photos were totally different reds. The red in my photos was coming across as more of a pink red, whereas the memories red was more orangey red. So to soften it up, I just smudged some white gesso over it, and it kind of made it more of that pinkish red, and it just kind of made it look a little hazy and faded, and it matched a lot better. So I went with that, and I love how that font of memories looks sitting on top of real life, and I'm definitely going to keep that. So now I'm just playing around with everything else. The Christmas tree, the holly, the ivy there, and just some little die cuts. There's so many little bits and pieces in this collection that I just had to take time and try lots of different things. And I really love this golden yellow star. I'm going to use that. And I don't want it to be sticky yet. So I'm just going to stick it to some cardstock and then cut it out. And then I can move it around. And this color is actually in the color scheme for the challenge. So I thought that that was a perfect spot for that star and the perfect color. So I've got some red, I've got some green, I've got some of that dark blue, and now I've got some of that golden yellow color. And I'm going to keep going. I don't want to add too much more on top of the photos because I like how this is looking, and I want to leave some open space so the photos don't feel so crowded. I am going to use this little Christmas tree here, but I'm going to trim off some of that white border from around the edges, and then it's going to go right back where I had it. It's going to get tucked in there to the right side, right there, because we were at the Christmas tree lot, so I felt like I needed to have a tree on here somewhere. And then, yeah, I'm going to do the same thing to this die cut here. I'm going to soften it up a little bit by smudging some white gesso over it, and it's just going to give it less of a fire engine red look and more of that faded color, which I really like. So I'm going to very carefully peel off memories and poke all the little inside pieces out, and then that's going to go right back up at the top. And I like how the lower part of the M kind of comes in between the E and the A of the word real. It's perfect for that section. I was very happy how that turned out. So that's going to go there. And then I'm going to start to glue some things down. I did add some adhesive foam behind the photos. I almost always do that. I want to pop those up off the page a little bit to give them a little bit of dimension. And I'm going to wind up leaving all of this as is and then start to work on what I'm going to do below the photos, because I definitely think I have too much white space down there and I need some things. So I'm going to make sure that everything is glued down, and then I'm going to start working on a new little cluster down there at the bottom. For thread, I'm going to use, right now, I'm only going to go with the dark navy blue color because I feel like that color, I need something in that color down on the bottom. Since I've got real life in the dark blue, I need to echo that color down at the bottom. So I'm going to use some thread that was giving me grief, so I had to work with it a few times to get it like I wanted. Wow, I wish I really did go that fast in real time. Yeah, no. I had to go slower, but thankful for editing because that would take way too long to watch. So here we go on the cluster. I like how this is looking already. I'm going to just start tucking in some little branches and some twigs, and I want to make sure that I vary the colors of things that I add here. Since the Mary circle is, you know, a lot of red, a big chunk of red, and then I've just added that blue thread, and then I've got two things of green. I want to really pay attention to the colors and the sizes of things that I add now, because I don't want to add anything that's big. So everything from here on out is going to be on the smaller side. But I was looking at that yellow star and I thought, that's the only yellow piece. I need something else yellow. So I just trimmed off some slivers of that cut apart sheet there, and I'm just going to do a hint of yellow along the outer edges of the photo. And that's just a very subtle detail. You know, it's definitely not something that you see right away, but the longer you look at the page, you realize, oh, there's more of that color there. And also the little star on top of the Christmas tree is that golden yellow color too. So I want to make sure that I don't have just one thing of one color. You know, since I've got the yellow star, then I feel like I need a couple more things in that color scattered around the layout to balance it out. So the top part is pretty much done. Everything else from here on out is going to be working on the lower section. So here's another instance of where I want to add a pop of that yellow. This is just a little round circle sticker. Oh, there's my boss lady, Paige. She's checking in. Did you see her head? She'll probably be back in a second. She has to lean in and check on what I'm doing and give me kisses. Yeah, stickers. Chipboard stickers. I'm going to use some circles, some stars. There she is. Yep, I knew she would come back. She's so funny. What else? What else? Yeah, see what I'm saying? There's so many things here. How can you possibly decide? Everything looks cute. It's so hard to just not use everything. Yeah. I added in a little pop of more of that yellow gold color with some thread. I'm going to add it underneath the photo on the right. Sometimes I feel like the thread just finishes things off. It just gives it a little bit of texture, a little bit of color, and it just adds to the messy factor because, you know, let's face it, all my layouts are messy. That's just the way life is in my house. And so, you know, my layouts have to reflect that. So I feel like it's perfect for me anyway. I'm going to add a couple more things to the top. I really like this light blue sticker here, and it fits perfectly right above memories. I like how it kind of sits in there. And then I'm going to top it off with this little green star. And kind of, the more I did this, I went smaller and smaller, kind of creating a pyramid. It kind of looks like a Christmas tree. Like the little star at the top is a Christmas tree star, and then it kind of comes down at an angle, if you see what I'm talking about. I didn't even plan that. It just sort of happened, and I don't know. I just like how that turned out. Kind of a subtle shape without me trying to do it. More things down at the bottom here. I'm going to add in another little ornament that was red, so I faded it out again with some of the gesso to soften it up. And my title is done, so I don't need any more big titles or anything. But now it's just, like I said before, smaller little details here. This little green star, I'm going to soften it up with some gesso, and it's going to go somewhere down there. I think. Yes. Nope. I didn't use that? I thought I did. I'm going to use a couple more little puffy stickers, though. I know that. That one is a green one that says 25. It's going to go somewhere. Yep. Right there. I love these little tiny things. They are perfect for clustering like this. That's a little yellow star. It's hard to stop. It's hard to stop. What can I say? Things just start flowing and you just want to keep adding. And then you just have to tell yourself, okay, that's enough. That's enough. Pull back. Take a break. But no, I'm going to keep going. Almost finished with this section, I promise. So I just added a few more things. Yep, added a little circle with a heart and then another little star diamond shape puffy sticker. And then we're going to add the bling, which I love these things. You guys know I love these. I use these on all my layouts. I feel like for Pinkfresh Studio. These are the Essentials crystals that I'm using today. And these are light blue, and they're clear and sparkly, and they're so pretty. And they're flat on the bottom, and they come up to a little point. And there's a couple of different sizes. And I'm just going to use this light blue color, and it's going to add all the perfect detail. But I added some at the top too by that star. And then I added my journaling off camera. I used I almost said silver, not silver, a gold pen. But that's the final page. I really, really like how this turned out. Here come all the details of all the close-ups of all the things that I did. This was fun to make, you know, and it was fun to scrap some photos that are far from perfect, but you know, that's real life. And I wanted a title that reflected that. My kids were in a bad mood. Nobody wanted to participate in standing in front of the trees. So, but I take the photos anyway, you know. It's okay if nobody's smiling, and it's okay if the photos are not perfect, because that's how that day went, and that's how that memory is. And I still want to remember that moment on that day. So, but yeah, look at those little jewels. Aren't they so cute? Those are my favorite. I love those. But let me know if you have any questions. I'll link everything down below so you can get your hands on it. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching.